It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Wendy Richter. I'm gonna fuck you up.
We want Mina.
Mamacita.
Thank you, Trish.
I am Medusa, always have been Medusa, and always will be Medusa.
That tooth, it was gonna come out anyway.
I prank bitches.
Call me David. Is anyone else sleep deprived today? Kia ora. What's up, sickos? I am Bex, and welcome to episode 10 of Don't Call Me Diva. Oh, we're in double digits. We talk about women's wrestling and run down the weekly matches of AEW and the ROH women's roster and the non-roster wrestlers who face them. We discuss women's wrestling from the Diva Attitude, the Diva Attitude, the Diva and Attitude era. Wow, it was kind of a Diva Attitude, wasn't it? WCW and also the TNA Knockouts. We discuss law, we make up law, we fantasy book, and we waffle off on tangents. This we is me, by the way. Yosh! How we doing? I have hair in my mouth. Hang on one second. Are we doing good this rainy afternoon? It's a beautiful day here. I have a brilliant thing to show you. Ba-ba-da-ba. Hot off the presses. From a wonderful sicko, Neon Ghost, sent me this Julia. Can you see? We're going up, we're going down, we're going over here. Ah, there we go. We are signed. She is in fire. And I fucking love it. So that's going to go up somewhere in the background at some point. 1 second. And I'm back. We're very bouncy today. We have some news, folks. Hang on 1 second before we get to the news. For double digits, baby, we are going to celebrate by delving into the world of tag team wrestling, my favorite flavor of wrestling. I'm going to do a slight little speed round of Dynamite and Collision today. And I will also be a little cheeky, and I'm going to combine the ROH into next week's one because I had so much fun reading up on the history of the NWA tag titles in the 1950s to not what we have now, because I will get into that kind of part later because, as it's ramped up. A lot more people, and we're going to run into them at other points. So anyway, I'll get there, but got there. But that will be what we're doing today. It is a tag team day. Oh, yes. I will discuss what I'm doing later. News. All right. 2 ex-AEW babes, Abaddon and Sunny Kiss, had a match together. Well, not together, but against each other for the Effie's Big Gay Brunch in CGW. No, GCW. Good Cunt Wrestling. Harley Cameron brought a mountain of joy to my heart and many others by posting a wonderful duet with Gary. If you don't know who Gary is, you need to go find out for yourself. Some cool as fuck news for the owner of 4 boats, Mercedes Monet, when she wrestles in Arena Mexico, which is later on this year at Grand Slam. We don't quite know who that is yet, but she will definitely be wrestling there. She will become the first ever women's wrestler in all of wrestling history to have wrestled in, they're like the top 4, I think. So like Arena Mexico, Wembley Stadium, Tokyo Dome, and the Madison Square Garden. On that note, I just saw yesterday that they have opened up the rest of the Arena Mexico, because I think there was like 6,000 or something seats left or something. So it looks like it was meant to be like a certain like whoop part, which is fine. The thing is huge. You don't need to like get your dick out and like flop about how many like, arenas you fill. But it looks like it's opening up. So that's quite fucking cool. But yeah, we don't know who she'll be facing next. She's going to be facing someone. And I'm really, really stoked for her. Wow, because, that is a very, well, for one, being the only woman, but even in the men's division, that's quite a, a top class kind of, category there. So, fuck yes. The first of many, I would like to say. Are we ready to get into it? You know what's coming. Bring the boom, shake your boobs, Dynamite. Holy flying fraggles, people. It's another woman's main event. We are in week 5 of this now, so I think we can start settling into this as a norm, as opposed to just a trend, which is quite exciting. I've said it before, but I really do feel like 2025 is the year of women's wrestling, don't you? Now we just need Nyla back, so all the women can be included. Marina Shafir comes out and she is in all black. Is it happening again, people? And shenanigans ensue, of course. Marina would stop Moxley, though, from potentially murdering the EVPs, and they would skedoodle to the back when confronted by some saucy baby faces. A challenge is made. We move on. The remarkably lucky I don't have the time for you right now, Renee Paquette, is here in a beautifully pleasing brown-coloured waistcoat with her hair in a messy bun, a gorgeous, bulky, but in like a good way, silver necklace. Like even my fiance, commented, that's a good necklace. And I was like, it fucking is. Her and friend of the pod, the sparkly silver belt is back to complete the look. Don't need a little plushie. No, moving on. Mother Wayne is looking regal in all black. Thank you very much. And we hear more information than we needed to know about her and Papa Cage's nighttime acrobatics. No, thank you. No, thank you. Moving on. Our announce team has the dynamic duo this time of Taz and Excalibur, but they are also joined tonight by ROH's Ian Riccaboni. No shade at all to Tony Schiavone, but Tony Schiavone. But I loved this trio of brilliance. I really did. Ian Riccaboni just makes me smile. He's so wholesome. I love him. Men's tag team sidebar. Holy flying fraggles, people. The Young Bucks versus the Jet, Kevin Knight, and Speedball Mike Bailey was fucking mean. Moving on. Renee is back, and this time she is getting the scoops from our beautifully robed world champion, timeless Tony Starr, accompanied by her butler wrestler, Luther, who cradles the championship expertly. The whore we all adore is in red lipstick, perfectly applied, but it still gives me the impression that she's been snogging someone's face off moments beforehand, hence the robe. Speaking of said robe, it looks comfy as in what looks like maybe satin, but it also kind of looks a little bit softer. The red complements her lipstick beautifully, and the gold edging fits in more ways than one. Our world champion has some words of encouragement to the ones who will be facing each other in tonight's main event, the semi-finals of the Owen Hart Cup. And it will be Chris Statlander and Jamie motherfucking Hayter. Woo! Sorry, that was rather excited. Our world champion went to the Classic Film Festival and walked the red carpet, which is cool. That's like, whew. But I have way more exciting things to talk about than that. Our amazing world champion announces that this Saturday on Collision, there will be a champion eliminator performance and calls upon someone to step up if they have the tits. And our glorious Queen Aminata walks right up to the world champion, gorgeous in denim, and accepts the challenge. Yosh! Fucking Yosh! Tony exits via Luther Airways, and we end on a really cute moment between the Queen Aminata and Renee. I haven't forgotten about you, Renee, but that was really cute. And after about roughly 11 minutes of a promo I did kind of find entertaining, but it still dragged on, followed by a rude 5-minute musical interlude. What the fuck are you doing back there? Renee is back! This time with a pacing cowboy, soon to be joined by an MJF. More MJF? 5 more minutes of MJF? Is this necessary? To me? No! But it's also not my problem. Right, so, bye, Renee. Moving on. Some Brits next probably going to leap up into the sky. Whoa, Brody's gonna eat ya. That was a great tag team. Oh, so good. After more shenanigans... Are you ready? Bum, 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 bum. Jamie Hayter's music, it's so fucking catchy. Para para dancing, we need to create one. But for now, let's sit back and watch this sweet match between these two queens. Oh, this will be a treat. I swear, I'm not going to do that every time, but sometimes the moment just catches me. Hayter is in vision in orange, while Chris Statlander is gorgeous in grey and green. Some people can't pull off like grey, but she really does. It's a battle of the muscles in this match, and it's the first time they have faced each other in singles matches. Stat is the first to knock down the other to the mat with a running shoulder tackle, and Hayter is pissed she went down to that first. Woo! Chris and Jamie push each other's physical boundaries again, and this time they both go down, but then quickly kick up in unison, and it's so fucking cool. Hayter tricks Stat to run to the ropes and gets flung to the mat with a nice German suplex from Hayter. There are a lot of nice German suplexes in this match. Suplexes of many kinds. They were all beautiful. A double knees to Stat in the corner, followed by a missile dropkick from the second rope. And Hayter rolls Stat over for the first pin of the match. Chris kicks out too, of course. Everything ramps up a bit more now from the wrestlers. Chris counters a power move from Hayter, who counters the corner uppercut. When Chris runs in for the knee, both wrestlers end up on the apron. Penelope Ford is being naughty. Get back there, you dastardly woman. Where am I up to? Oh, we're on the goddamn apron. Fine. If you want to do that, you can just do that. Don't mind me, audios. I'm just yelling at Penelope Ford right now. More fisticuffs and happen on the apron until Stat does this beautiful little inner leg sweep to Hayter, and Jamie goes onto her back and just rolls to the floor. Chris signals for her pendulum moonsault, but Jamie's like, nah, and sidesteps that bollocks, and Chris lands really heavily on the floor. Hayter boots her to make sure she's still alive, perhaps, and gets into the ring to see if she can get a sneaky little count-out victory. But Stat rolls in and receives a beautiful snap suplex from Hayter as a welcoming present back into the ring. Hayter manhandles Chris some more, choking her on the ropes and standing on her shoulders for as long as the ref can count to 3, which is a bit dastardly. Hayter gives her, "I'm just a playful scamp," to the ref, and the crowd are like, "We love you, but boo, that we saw through that." Chris ignites back up and lays some punishment into Hader until Stat is elbowed out of the sky and she crumbles to the mat. After longer than she should, I should say, Jamie finally pins Stat, but it is a 2. Those ladies were down for a while. A powerful suplex from Stat goes for another pin. Just gets a 2. A jawbreaker and another snappy suplex from Hader finds Stat in another pin, but it's just a doggon. Hader then goes, fuck this shit, and locks a tight-ass choke on Stat, trapping her arm and locking her legs around Stat's body. It took every ounce of strength from Chris to power out of it, and it almost looked like Hader had it for a second, but a jawbreaker from Stat, you got to do the hard moves, followed by a flying back elbow from the middle rope, bring both wrestlers down to the mat. As we pan around, the crowd start a lovely little dueling chant. I forgot where we were, but I remember just before this episode we are in New Orleans. I don't know. Oh, no, I think we're just in New Orleans. Anyway, don't quote me. I don't know. I'm not from there. Chris and Hader ramp up even more, and soon Hader is in a rear naked choke, wrapping herself around Chris like a boa, once again trying to squeeze her. Making use of the rolly rule, Chris tries to break the submission, but Hader just rolls out of position, never letting go of Chris. This is a problem when you have two very, very balanced strength partners. Strength partners? Moving the fuck on. When they do end up breaking apart, Hader finds herself in a predicament. Chris uses her strength to stand up with Hader on her shoulders, and then she just pancakes Hader's face first onto the mat. Ow. A double knee to the back of the head of Hader should have done it, in all honesty, but Hader is tough as fuck and kicks out at 2. The two wrestlers move on to strong kicks now, as submissions and powerful strikes are just not working. Chris goes on to attempt an underhook something or other, but gets countered by Hader, and Stat gets a hate breaker. The two women are down and hurting. Hader gives this pinning malarkey a go, but Chris is alive enough to kick out at 2. Chris would land her 450 splash, but Hader still kicks out. It's pretty impressive. Chris yells, "Army!" like she owes her money, and then climbs the ropes again. Hader is up and is like, no. Then she starts laying forearms into Stat while she's up there. Hader then does something so smart and pulls Stat off the ropes and into a Haderade. So she grabbed her arm and like pulled her towards her, and as she's like flinging towards her, she gets a freaking Haderade. So it's kind of like a avalanche super boosted Haderade. Moving on. Jamie drags Stat's limp body to her feet and then smashes her back down with another Haderade just for good measure. Stat is deceased. 1 and a 2 and a 3, and we have our second finalist for Mercedes Moné at Double or Nothing. Jamie points at the cup. Hader is the victor, and we will stop this right now because the CEO is here. Hello, CEO. Mercedes Moné comes out with her belts, and the two wrestlers yell wrestling stuff to each other, and we're out of here. That was Dynamite. So it's going to be Mercedes and Jamie Hader, and it's a pretty... I don't have the date of Double or Nothing on me off the top of my head, but I think there might at least be like 2 or 3 weeks in between. So that's a pretty... I mean, either if it's 3 or 2, that's a pretty good time between the between the two matches to get all in shape. Although they will probably maybe do some like tag teamy shenanigans, maybe. Ooh, that'd be fun. Moving on. Collision! What do we have in store tonight? Well, first we get the fire that was missing from last week's condition of collision. So that was a bit exciting, and also kind of slightly overstimulating because I was very excited. After shenanigans, our world goes black and white. but it's rainbows in our heart because it's time for our world champion, Timeless Tony Storm. Our stunning champion is gold this evening, and she works her robe with expertise. Our Queen's music hits because it's time for that match. We're not getting it at the end of the night. We're getting it, when was it? Second? Third? Second! The Queen Aminata graces the stage in her statuesque beauty. Queen Aminata is from Guinea in West Africa and immigrated to the United States after living in France in 2013. The one and only is gorgeous in a red two-piece. As our two wrestlers lock up, the crowd starts singing. And and that's when I realized I had no idea where we were. But we are in New Orleans, so thank you very much for the singing. You're a bit quiet. We're not quiet. I want to call you quiet. Subdued. No, subdued's not right. Anyway, moving on. Let's just not insult the New Orleans crowd. The match starts off cheeky, but soon gets very technical, and the two wrestlers both attempt decapitation by choke, whilst backing out of the corner after delivering some hefty forearm shots to the champ. The one and only gets nibbly and bites Tony's face, which is new. Something else new is the ass to the face beating that the Queen gives the champ that leaves Tony Storm bleeding from her nose and on the floor. Damn! When we say buns of steel over here, I think Queen Aminata really has it. But the biting, where'd the biting come from? She's been, Death Riders, Moxley. Moving on. Oh, we hurt people. We nibble people. We nibble. Anyway, Queen Aminata takes Timeless on a tour of the outside, showing her all sorts of painful sights. Once back in the ring, a battle of the bottoms between the two wrestlers ensue until the world champion tries to pin Queen Aminata in a cheeky little roll-up. Not successful. Queen Aminata stretches and then pretzels Timeless until a pin breaks it all up again. The rule of roly-roly. Some more heavy hits between the two until Tony manages to capture Aminata in an STF. The Queen drags them both to the ropes and breaks a submission. I mean, they weren't like particularly in the middle, but even if they were in the middle, Queen Aminata has like amazingly strong and long limbs, so you'd probably have to like capture like everything. Moving on. A dazed Tony Storm is very vulnerable in the corner, and she cannot block the incoming boot from Queen Aminata, but she can roll herself out of the ring to give herself some time and space to recover. The world champion avoids the incoming something or other from Queen Aminata, and Aminata gets a nasty hip attack against the barricade, which didn't look nice for either of them. She rolls Aminata back into the ring, but comes in herself via top rope airlines with a crossbody splash into a pin, but it's still just the two. Queen Aminata responds with a sit-down belly-to-back pile driver, but she only gets the two. She likes to use this one. She does it very well. A slugfest between the two wrestlers ramps up again, this time ending up in a pop-up powerbomb from the champion to Queen Aminata into another pin, but it's just it. A cheeky cradle from Aminata this time for a pin gets another two. She follows quickly with a swinging neck breaker, but is again denied the win. The Queen yells out in a battle cry of frustration, which is fair because she has been throwing everything at her, but still, what does she expect? It's the world champion. The Queen will miss, unfortunately, a top rope stomp, and she gets a suplex from Tony. And the Queen will find rest in the worst place possible, which is the corner, and she eats a hip attack from the champion. Oh, a dazed Aminata is then a victim of a Storm Zero, and our world champion wins the match with a 1 and a 2 and a 3. It's not all bad, though. Our world champion shakes the hand of her opponent, showing her immense respect, which she has definitely earned, even in defeat. This is one thing that I really, really do love about Tony's run is that she is like super like empowering to like the other wrestlers, even ones that are a little bit cheeky, you know. But but I don't know where I was going with that. Moving on. As Timeless Tony Storm leaves the ring side via Luther Airways, we fade out to Lexi Nia, who is wearing the gorgeous strapless chocolate / hazelnutty colored dress. Beautiful brown seemed to be the interviewing color today. But this time she's paired it with a long sleeve white shirt. Lexi is also rocking the messy bun and has some questions for Scorpio Sky! Yeah! Miss Scorpio Sky! Who is he's accompanied by Mr. fucking wee woo wee woo himself. Karen Jarrett is dressed in all black, so thank you! Moving on! We stop by the Tornado Tag match because Layla Gray is here. And it's always a good day to see Layla Gray. She is fucking gorgeous and extremely fucking talented. And she's all in black this evening. Yes! Moving on. It is currently at this time of, well, not this time of my life, but writing time of my life, 4:42 a.m. And we cannot dilly and or dally. We are also a little bit delirious. Anna Jay is back, people! She is in her long and white Brody Lee inspired jacket, which is really, really fucking cool. If it was in black, I'd like totally want it. Baby blue gear looks great on her, and she is pumped. Oh, Akari Ora is also here, of course. Sorry, I did not mention her before. She is gorgeous in 2 tones of pink. And someone else who is pumped is Taylor Gainey. Now, who the frick is Taylor Gainey? AKA T-Gains. I don't know why that made me kind of cringe laugh. She is from Florida. She has been a wrestler for 5 years and is pro wrestling 225 women's champion. Pro wrestling 225 women's champion. You feel? Well, Anna Jay must have known that I needed to get to bed because she dominated Taylor and put her down with a gory bomb, a 60 pin for 3, and we have a winner, people! Anna's moment of glory will soon be interrupted by the super bad girl. Penelope has mischief in her eyes as she stomps to the ring, and my girl is all in black. I swear these ladies are just like... we have a thing. Ford's coming down. She's got a glint in her eye, which can only mean one thing. She's a super bad girl. Do you see a muscle mama with me? Where could she be? I'm a super bad girl. Oh, shit. The tune has just switched and Bane's music has hit. You're going to have to bow down. But I gotta stop trying to write more lines because it's almost 5 a.m. A snoozy bad girl. I told you, I was delirious when I was writing this. Penelope attacks Anna Jay while she is focused on Bane and gets a hiding from Ford. Bane takes her time getting into the ring and Ford makes the most of it by choking Jay. Bane lifts Jay's lifeless body up onto her shoulders while her music still plays, so it's all extremely epic right now. A kaboom! Fate's descent, baby. Penelope Ford gives us and we will make them all bow down as we fade to the Double or Nothing promo. That was it. That is the little... See, I told you it was snappy. The snappy rundown of Collision and Dynamite. I am down with this Anna Jay and Bane thing that might be going on. Ooh, to counter them both, we could have Tay Mello back and then they can do some like tag teams. Speaking of tag teams, it is time to have the tag team fun times, people. Woo! For double digits, yeah, we wanted to do tag teams. For I got like some ideas for next week's one as well, which I'm sure I've written down and I will get to. So let's not jump the gun on that one. But Speaking of T, I was supposed to call him TJ. I really hate that name. I mean, I can hate whatever, but can we have a better name, please? Think about it. This will all line up, but think about it, people, and come up with some better names, all right? So, we are now going to have some fun talking about the Women's Tag Team Championship. WWF's Women's Tag Team story starts in 1983, but those titles were originally NWA's, but they legally were Moolah's. So she had the rights to them and everything. They were brought to life in NWA in 1952, but WWF brought the rights to the belts in 83 off of Moolah, and then they rebranded them because they'd already withdrawn from the NWA a few years before this, I think. Ella Waldeck, I knew I'd get that weird, and the legendary literal ballbuster, Mae Young, were the first ever winners of the titles, but records are going to be shady. Well, not shady, but just like not there. So there is no record of how this came to be. And reading up on women's wrestling back in the day, matches were usually either on an hour-long time limit or they were a 2 out of 3 falls. Because when I look back, I noticed that there was a fuck ton of 2 out of 3 falls. And the 1 hour time limit is fucking cool. Look at that. In 1950, it wasn't on TV. Well, some of it was on TV. Women's wrestling was getting more airtime. It went real bad in the 80s. Oh, damn. Women's wrestling was illegal in some of the states of the US, so they obviously couldn't go anywhere, but they where they could go, there was equal time in the ring, which was awesome. Ella was a farm girl turned roller derby person turned professional wrestler. Oh, I didn't write this down, but like sidestep onto roller derby, like that looks like super fucking fun, but like I've fallen like in skates before and like, no. And then when you have like other badass bitches who are like, yeah, I gotta lay it in, I'm like, no, thank you. But it looks fun. After going to see it live, that's why she wanted to go and be a professional wrestler. That's how a lot of them, like, they went to like their lives and they were like, fuck yes. But I mean, like, isn't that with everyone? She is one of the many women trained by Moolah. I'm beginning to think this was more out of a monopoly than, I mean, no shade. Well, shade, but no shade on like her in-ring talent. Her in-ring talent was top-notch. Her morals and perhaps maybe on like how to like treat your underlings / trainees / how to actually train them might not have been so great. I watched some of back to Ella. She started her career in Chicago, Illinois. I watched some matches of hers and Ella was jacked for the time. She had a great character presence in the ring, intense facial expressions, and she was a forever heel. So, woo! Using the ropes to enhance her submissions, closed fists, rakes to the eyes when the ref wasn't looking, like all the real good shit. Her notoriety as a heel was advanced, though. I don't know why I laughed before saying this line, because it's the unfortunate death of an 18-year-old wrestler by the name of Jeanette Wolfe. Jeanette wrestled against Ella in the first match of the evening. Complained about a real bad headache after the match. The slam given to Wolf as the finisher of the match, which was the winning move, is referred to often as the devastating blow that triggered the events later on. Back in the day, a slam was like a legit finisher. Like seeing a woman, like, well, even like a man, like seeing anyone like pick anyone up and just like slam it was just like, damn. Like if you won the pin from that, it was like, sweet, legit. Why has that changed as well? Against Ella's advice, she did not, this is Jeanette, she did not tell her adopted father women's wrestling mogul Billy Wolf that she was hurt at all or suffering from any sort of head trauma. People have said that her unwillingness to let her father down contributed, as it was also rumored he was grooming her to eventually take over Mildred's top spot. Him and Mildred Burke had like a nasty little marriage falling out, and yeah, he was worried about having a replacement. People have also said that she had been complaining of the bad headaches already in training, like for a while. Later, Jeanette was in a tag match with Eva Lee against Ella and Mae Young. Jeanette was in first, and she faced Mae. But she quickly tagged out, pretty quickly, because Mae was well known for working stiff, like not to be a dick, but to be good. And Jeanette was like legit fucked before this match, so she couldn't handle any sort of like punishment. Wolf tagged out to Eva Lee. As soon as she went through the ropes, she was seen to like grab her head. She like grabbed onto the ropes on the apron. She collapsed and she never regained consciousness. The cops arrested Ella, Mae, and Eva Lee, and they were wanting to charge them with manslaughter, but no case could be made. An autopsy found the cause of her death to be a subdural hematoma, which is a traumatic rupture. Oh, and a traumatic rupture of the stomach. So some people are thinking the rupture of the stomach was from the slam. Who fucking knows? A little cheeky thing from Ella Waldick, though. She did say some cheeky little thing that she thought maybe the fact that Jeanette's like multiple meals in between matches might have contributed to the traumatic rupture of the stomach, but I'm just adding that in. That's just her. That's just her opinion on it. I don't know. I wasn't there. But so they were released. They were they were locked up in a hotel room because there were no jail cells for women in the state. Wrestling fans definitely have not changed. And they would forever chant murderer at Ella Waldick when she was in the ring. But it did get her good gigs. Ella Waldick was active. I knew that would happen. I'm just going to go Ella because I do not trust myself with her last name right now. Was active for about 21 years between 51 and 72. Now, Mae Young, her first name is Johnnnie. I really want it to be Johnny. Her father's name was Johnny or John, but it might be Joni. Mae Young is a woman, obviously, that was so unique. She was unique even by today's standards, like no shit. Standards. She got into wrestling by standing up in the audience of her first wrestling show to challenge the world champion Mildred Burke. She was like, fuck yeah, I can take this bitch on. That, of course, would never happen, as Billy Wolf was not going to let an unhinged Mae loose on his champion. But her balls got her a gig in the end. Mae Young kicked many a man and woman's ass for real on like many occasions. She liked to drink at the local bar, was physically tough as fuck, and could eat a punch. Even into her late 80s, early 90s, she refused to be handled lightly, as everyone must know by now. But just in case you don't. Even into her 90s, she was still like, don't you fucking even. Had run-ins with the law, is rumored to have a knack for beating up men and mugging them. Never married and fucking loved the wrestling business. Mae Young's in-ring career spanned 65 years, people. 1939 to 2004. Damn. Eva Lee was in the wrestling business down in Texas from as young as 14. She was then married at like 15 and a single mother by 26. She had good business sense, despite this, and was already an owner of a very successful restaurant and cocktail lounge in Houston. That she had her mother run once she started her wrestling career as an adult lady. Yeah, business sense. Lee was a lighter wrestler who used her speed against the brawlers. Lee and Young would face each other many times in the ring throughout Texas, Oklahoma, and the Louisiana territories. Louisiana, I don't know why. But before she got back into the wrestling business in 1950, the two got arrested together with another woman who was arrested with May for a similar incident earlier or later, I can't remember, for beating the crap out of a guy and yoinking his cash. May was a fucking evangelist preacher during this time, which fucking cracks me up. After this, Lee would come back to wrestling, because how could you not want to come back to wrestling after a fun time like that? And the two would team up as promoters in Texas and put out 2 shows. They sold to a local businessman who had just finished the renovations of the closed big arena that was in the area. It had been closed for like over a year, and it was when wrestling was done. Young and Lee had jumped in to like fill the gap while the venue was under renovation, and they created their promotion. Some people say it was like a smart little business idea to like sell off a profit thing, and if it is, then fuck yeah, good on them. The two parted ways after competing against each other for over a year. Over a year at the first women's match that was ever allowed in Indiana, the day after the ban was lifted. That was in September of 51. So that was their last match. Eva would go on to wrestle. Oh, I lie. Eva would go on to wrestle for Billy Wolf's touring show. Oh, catching myself out. Eva Lee's last known match, here we fucking go, was at the Coliseum in Baltimore, Maryland, for the tournament that would eventually crown Moolah with the title that she would hold on to for like fucking forever. Lee bet Young, but would lose in the semifinal of that match. Back to the tag titles. The NWA tag title was the first ever women's world tag titles in pro wrestling. May and Ella's run with the belts only lasted like 3 days. So maybe they were given, like, crowned them to, like, maybe they were bestowed the belts, like, on creation. So, like, they had someone to, like, fight with. Because they then lost them to June Byers and Millie Statford in Mexico City, Mexico. Though it is reported they won it from a 6-month tournament or in a Florida tourney or something. So, like I say, things are all over the place. Well, not all, yeah. They held those titles for 88 days, by the way. June Byers was an absolute babe. Like, they're all babes, but she was a babe who was trained by May and Billy Wolf. Her finisher was a cheeky little roll-up called the Byers Bridge. She would go on to win a 13-woman tournament in Baltimore to claim the vacated women's world title, which she would then hold for 10 years. Mildred Burke had left Wolf and formed her own promotion, World Women's Wrestling Association. So that's why that was vacated. June Byers was well known for being technical, but also tough in an industry of tough and stiff women workers. She was one of the stiffest. Millie Stafford is a tricky woman to find information on, but I did find a lovely little award ceremony on YouTube put up by Boston Wrestling MWF. It was of the Cauliflower Alley Society. Oh, hang on. It's something else. I know I've written it down later. We'll get there. Where Millie was receiving an award, Ella made a speech introducing her and told a story about how she and Millie were having a match in Columbus, Ohio for TV. Ella threw her out of the ring. Ella threw... I've forgotten who I'm talking about. Ella threw Millie. Threw Millie out of the ring. If I just kept on reading, then I would have known. And as she was out of the, as she was going, she hit the side of the apron. This is Millie. Hit the side of the apron with her leg, and she broke her leg in that move. But she hadn't even freaking noticed that it was even that bad, and was like just walking around afterwards. A doctor, like who was at the match, was kind of like, maybe we should go and get that looked at. And after Millie had finally been convinced to get it x-rayed, she didn't believe the doctor at all, but she had actually legit broken her leg. She was like, I've been walking around on this thing. What do you mean I've broken my leg? She still wrestled in a damn cast, though. That wasn't going to stop her. Millie stated in her speech that she loved the wrestling biz and that it gave her everything that she wanted. She had to give up the wrestling biz, those due to health reasons, unfortunately. Millie wrestled for 22 years, from 1949 to 71. Millie had to leave wrestling for a bit back then. Mary Jane Mull won a tournament to replace her in 52. And so now it's June Byers and Mary Jane Mull for the champions now. And they're champions for about 90-ish days. Something happens in March of 1953 where Daisy May and Golden Venus win the titles, but they're only recognized in West Virginia as champs. No idea why. They held them for like 184 days, but fuck knows what happened during that reign. Daisy May had a bubblegum gimmick and would blow big ass bubbles in her or her wrestling husband at the time, Billy Stumpy's opponents. She would bring her 4-year-old kid to the ring, and she was quite the draw. Apparently, when she was fighting, her little kid would be running around going, carnies. She would wrestle from 1950 to 57. I do love that little bubblegum thing, though. I'm not going to get too into that because I still want to leave something that we can talk about when we talk about these women in like future episodes. So I won't give away all. Well, some of them I do. Yeah. Moving on. Golden Venus was active between 1954 and 57, and she only had 7 matches, and that's literally all I know. Couldn't find anything else. Ruth Boat Kelly, and I honestly thought I was being ribbed by that name, but no, Bucali. Ooh, Boa Ticelli. Anyway, why am I doing this? And Carol Cook, who we remember from the match in episode 9 with Woman, who got fucking shoulder breaked by Kevin Sullivan. Cheeky little scamp. They won the titles in September, but there were no records kept of what went down between those 2 title reigns. They were only recognized as champions in Alabama and Tennessee. These kind of statements makes me so curious as to why this happened. Surely it was some sort of like territories fuckery, but I'm intrigued. They held them for 104 days. There's got to be some fuckery with the territory kind of thing going on there, eh? So, Carol Cook was from Ohio. She wrestled from 1950 to 60, died at, 30. But I couldn't find any more about it apart from this little article that said that she threw the ref out of the ring during a match, which is always hilarious. She was in a 2-on-1 30-minute challenge with May versus June Byer as well. So that must have been like a 3-way kind of thing. Ruth Butkel was trained by good old Billy Wolf. She was from Texas and had an in-ring career of about 4 years, 1951 to 55. Her and Cook would fight each other in the ring a lot over their like little short careers. This would sometimes happen. You would see a lot of like kind of two women kind of facing each other multiple times around the place. June Byers and Mary Jane Mull would win them again and hold them until the titles were vacated. We are presuming they were vacated because June Byers won the NWA World Championship and she was now a very busy woman. June Byers would, though, once again become the MWA Tag Champion, this time with her first tag team champion partner, Millie Stafford. So Millie's back from the first little health hiatus. Probably some fucking complications from that goddamn leg, woman. After that, we get even more hazy to the fact that I have no idea what went on. Penny Banner and Lorraine Johnson would be tag champions in 1955 after winning a tournament somewhere for them. So this is obviously how they were like, right, they're all vacated again. Let's do another tournament. Penny Banner was a badass heel who liked to get dirty and is quoted as saying, "Boos are better than no reaction at all." I'm sure I've heard like an Our Time wrestler say that as well. I already know that I love her. I can't wait to actually real delve into her. Her signature moves were a dropkick, a small package, and a sunset flip, which I bet blew fucking people's minds back then. Penny was the first woman to ever receive the Frank Gotch Award, which is an award that honors people in pro wrestling who brought a positive recognition to the industry through their outside work. And that was given to her by the George Tragos Luther's Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame. Lorraine Johnson. Oh, on that, there are a lot more Hall of Fames in wrestling than I thought there was. I don't know why I didn't imagine that before, but there are others. There is not just the one. Lorraine Johnson was a part of Billy Wolf's troupe. She wrestled for 11 years, had her jaw broken in the ring. I think someone sat on her, and had a great reputation as a good worker who was tough in the ring. Well, duh, she got a fucking jaw broken. Her and Penny's tag team came about because she was sick of what was going on in her area and had heard from many others that her and Lorraine looked like each other. After she left wrestling, Lorraine would never talk about her career, anyone at all, and she refused to accept any recognition with awards at all. She was like, no, I'm outie. Daisy May and Golden Venus, she's back, won the title for a second time, and it is once again a reign that is only recognized in West Virginia. Will Golden Venus ever get a break? Penny Banner, she's back, and she wins the tag title for her second time. This time she's with Bonnie Watson, but it's just a little tiny 16, well, not the tiniest, but a little 16-day run. Bonnie Watson would win the Canadians women's tag titles with Penny Banner as well. Another member of Wolf's troupe, she retired as Florida State Wrestling Champion. So that's always cool. And was in The Wrestling Queen with Luna Vachon's Aunt Vivian. It must be nice to be able to, retire a champion. I mean, you don't want to be one of those guys that can't let go of it. No, actually retiring with, I don't know. I'm flip-flopping on that thought. June Byers is back, baby! And this is her 5th reign as tag champion. And she is with Mars Bennett. Mars was from Texas. And Mars was her real name? I don't know why, but I feel like the vibe of the name Mars for a woman in the 20s and 50s is super badass. I am so down. She, here we go. It's not her real name. I did not edit myself. So that was a real name with a question mark? Yes, glint in eye. She named herself this when she joined the circus. I fucking love it. I wonder if she got it from the planet, or if she got it from the Roman goddess. God. Typical. Anyway, moving on. She was a clown, a trapeze artist, and also an acrobat. She would have been fucking brilliant for wrestling. Later on, she also became a weightlifter, a boxer, and a stunt double for Hollywood. And the bitch was also a fucking singer. She unfortunately died at 35 in a car crash whilst working the Nashville, Tennessee territory. So she would have been on her way and somewhere in goddamn fucking car crash. Penny Banner comes in for her... we ramping up from that sadness. She comes in for her third reign. Penny Banner, bring it on down. As tag champion, this time she is with a Betty Jo Hawkins. Betty Jo Hawkins won the NWA Florida Women's Championship 3 times. But she had to retire at 59 due to arthritis. Fair enough, 59. God damn. I know some people younger than 59. They have arthritis. June Byers is back, baby. She's around a lot. And this time she's with Barbara Baker as her tag partner. For she is now in her 6th reign as being champion. Barbara Baker was from Calgary, Canada, and she had a long as fuck wrestling career that she had her last match in 68. Penny Banner is back, and she grabs her 4th but very teeny tiny title reign with Betty Jo Hawkins again, but they quickly drop them to NWA Women's Tag Team Title Queen herself. I told you she was back as quick as lightning. June Byers! Whoa! This is now her 7th goddamn fucking tag run, and she has another tag partner. This time, the iconic Ethel Johnson. Fucking A, Ethel Johnson, come on goddamn down. Ethel Johnson started wrestling at 16. Her sister, Babs Wingo, another legend, was training with Billy Wolf, and she went to join her. She had a younger sister as well who wrestled under the name Marva Scott. Like, 3 legends as pioneers of Black American women's wrestling and in wrestling in general. Enormous, like her sisters. How do I not know about them already? I mean, this is probably my fault, but I'm glad I know about them now, and I cannot wait to dive deeper into their careers. Ethel, was known for her high-flying offense and standing drop kick. Fuck yeah. Lorraine Johnson is back for her 2nd run, and we have little Millie Stafford with her for her 3rd. Oh, it sucks that she didn't want to talk about it, huh? She had so many good tag reigns. Millie skedoodles off, and it's now Lorraine Johnson picking up her 3rd reign with Penny Baker, who is now on her 5th reign. Jesus Christ. Kay Noble and Lolita Martinez are our next NWA Women's World Tag Team Champions, and they hold them for a respectable 1,085 days. We are finally getting some... that's a little bit long. See, this is the thing, right? They're either dumb fuck short or redonkulously long. Jesus Christ. Or it's like here, and then the other one's like, no, we can't have it over here, so we're going to have you. And this was like, no, man, I'm fucked up. So, okay, we'll give you what it is. We're going to do, but there's going to be another title run. Jesus fucking Christ. Kay Noble started wrestling at the age of 18, and she was a well-known tough cookie, and she wrestled for 30 years. Lolita Martinez is also a.k.a. Laura Martinez, and she wrestled from 1954 to 61. If this is all I can say about a wrestler, that is literally all I found out. So, yeah. Audio people totally miss like the horrendous awkward moment of me looking at the camera and back. Anyway, Adrian Ames. Ames. We're going to go with Ames. Adrian Ames and Pat Leiter are our next tag champions, and they held the title for over 2,000 days. You see what I'm saying? Which is impressive as shit, but also a little fucking hokey. I'm not sure, honestly, if that 2,000-day run could be, compared to a 2,000-day run in anyone's promotion nowadays. That's ridiculous. Oh, Adrian Ames was a wrestler between the years of 1961 and 67. I love those. She was a director. Pat Leiter was only in the biz for 3 years. But she did have a career in those 3 years, she was very dastardly, fought for the crown and won an award. This is brilliant. Cannot wait to find out more about this. She won an award for the most disqualifications in a year. I love that. Now, we are in the 70s. After we've gone through the hokey of the 50s and the 60s, we are now in the 70s. And, of course, we've got the fabulous Moolah, who is no longer going by the horrendous fucking name of Slave Girl Moolah. It felt gross in my head. I knew it would feel gross coming out of my mouth. That was given to her by the notorious promoter Jack Fifi. And Patty Nelson, no, she didn't have anything to do with name. She was the next tag champ with the fabulous Millie. Patty Nelson is someone I couldn't find Jack Dilly squat on. So if you have any info, please fill us all in down in the comments. In fact, if you have anything you want to say about anyone, fill me in wherever. Tony Rose would then team up with Moolah and hold the title not for long. Tony Rose was a fan of wrestling from a very young age. She trained at Moolah's compound in 1965. So this compound, Moolah had a house. She had trailers to rent for accommodation and also a training facility at this compound, which is just a big area of land. That itself raises alarm bells, especially for someone who has watched a frack ton of cult documentaries. But we're moving on right now. We're not going to get into that. Tony Rose was known to hit hard and leave you battered and bruised whether you won or not. This is becoming quite the trend for the first woman in wrestling, which is quite cool. Tony Rose was known as a tag team specialist, which pricked me up because, you know, your girl loves tag team wrestling. I also love Tony Rose as a wrestling name. It sounds really fucking great. She wrestled from 63 to 1980. A lot of these women are in the WWE Hall of Fame, but no shit, y'all. Once Drew Carey got fucking inducted into that whole fucking shine lost any of that honor for me. It is insulting having a celebrity wing, in my opinion, of that thing when fucking Miss Elizabeth, Bam Bam Bigelow, and Sid Vicious are not even in the Wrestling Hall of Fame from that promotion. I don't give a fuck if there's whatever fuckery. What the literal fuck? Especially fucking Miss Elizabeth. Actually, no. Especially all three of them. That's why I picked them out. There are more people, but those three stood out to me to be like, bullshit. Bullshit on your fucking honor. But also, fucking that celebrity bullshit fucking Kid Buttrock and fucking Ozzy Osbourne are in there. Sidebar, Sharon Osbourne is a piece of fucking shit. Back from the sidebar, there is a lovely Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, and the Cauliflower Alley also give out awards, and they're really nice. Sorry, I got a little spicy on that one. Donna Christianello and Kathy O'Day are the lovely ladies who win our titles next. Donna was trained by Moolah. As is tradition, she debuted in 1963, but she took off in the 70s and retired in 91. Donna was a babyface for her career and was a great tag team wrestler. You know the black and white pic of Andre holding up 4 grown-ass women? She is the grown-ass woman on his right shoulder. So you got to imagine, like, you're looking, but it's on his right shoulder. I think Tony Rose was the one on his left shoulder. It really looked like her, and it kind of matched up. I do think I have also cracked the code on another lady, but the other one I couldn't do. Donna was on Sensational Sherry's Survivor Series team at Survivor Series in 1987. So you know your girl's going to have to watch that. Kathy O'Day, if it was in 97, I would have seen it. But obviously I just wouldn't have remembered. Oh, that's going to be fun. We wonder if any like memories come flushing back. Although it is hard to know if it's like a memory or if it's just because of like all the fucking OS dub I've watched. Kathy O'Day was trained by and wrestled between 1969 and 1974. Couldn't come up with much about Kathy O'Day, unfortunately, but I did find it interesting that from November 1970 to her last match in 75, Bonnie Watson was like beating her in like either a singles match or a tag match. Damn. I mean, you see, like I said earlier, you see a few patterns of some opponents through a lot of the careers, but this really stood out as quite the streak. Usually they go back and forth, but Kathy O'Day was fucking, she was getting beaten. The fabulous goddamn Moolah and Tony Rose are back, this time as champions again. This will be Moolah's third reign and Tony's second. Moolah was NWA World Champion and probably bailed on the tag titles after that. So Donna Christianello and Tony Rose are now our tag champions. We don't know if it was just like a tournament thing or like a, hey, you, step in. But they are now tag champs. Sandy Parker and Susan Green had a snappy 6-day reign, which might not seem much to talk about, but these wrestlers rule. Sandy Parker was a black gay Canadian who was raised by her grandparents, and she fucking loved wrestling from the first live event she ever attended onwards. Sandy won the All Japan Women's WWWWWWA world title in 73, making her the first black woman to become a world champion. Sandy Parker grew up in Windsor, Ontario, Canada, and she trained with Lou Klein over the border. Sandy would catch a bus 3 times a week to Allen Park, Michigan, to train. I couldn't even imagine that. She was told that to go anywhere in this biz, she would have to train with fucking Moolah. So she moved down to the compound. Moolah's attitude, her strict rules, and her bullshit bookings of only her faves, and also her attitude about Sandy Parker's sexuality, pissed her the fuck off, and she left to go work for Mildred Burke instead. Because thankfully, by this point, Mildred Burke had fucked off from Wolf and she had created her own little shimmy sham. Everyone says that Moolah could go in the ring and that she was an excellent performer. I don't piss ass around with separating the art from the artist because there is plenty of good art out there of every kind, not made by dicks. So personal choice on that one. But me, I'm like, and? We're back to Sandy. She had an 18-year-long career, which is awesome, from 68 to 86, and was an 8-time WWWA Tag Team Women's Champion. That makes me wonder if I added one too many W's in the first one. Perhaps. Was moving on. She has a hilarious quote from an interview with SlamWrestling.net in 2008 that cracked me the fuck up because I was like, yes! Here it is. Now, take yourself back to 2008 era-ish, givey or takey wrestling in the Wobbly Republic-y Entertainment Federation place, okay? This is her quote. But today's wrestling leaves her cold. As far as she's concerned, Vince McMahon ruined wrestling, and he did it all for financial gain. Her. As far as I'm concerned, wrestling is crap now, she spats. I give the guys credit for some of the things that they do, some of the high spots and the falls, but I don't give them credit for the stupid storylines that they have. Shit. Which is basically saying the wrestlers are great. Yeah, fucking creative. Sandy Parker was a member of the Cauliflower Alley Club. Oh, here we go. The Cauliflower Alley Club organization. No wonder I couldn't remember that. Which sounds like a great little organization. They really, really do. She died recently, in 2022, but her death wasn't made public until 2024, which may have a perfectly reasonable explanation behind it, but it does sound sus. This dude from Slam Wrestling wanted to interview her, and she was really fucking stoked. My bad. Yeah, no, he was from like her hometown, and she was really stoked. She wanted to talk about wrestling. She went in the hospice. So, moving on. Susan Tex Green was a wrestling fan from the age of 5, relatable, and had been hounding Joe Blanchard to train her for years. Can you imagine like this tiny little child being like, fucking teach me dick? And he's like, nah, you're too little. He finally caved in when she was 14 years old, and debuted at 15. After graduating high school, she went to the Moolah compound and was booked all over the world. She was 6 foot, some say 6'1", and had a career of 25 years. You out there will probably know her from being one half of the Glamour Girls at some point. After their tiny little run, Donna Cristianello and Tony Rose are back. Donna is on 3 reigns, Tony is on 4. That's all we know. Joyce Grable and Vicky Williams will then win them in 73. Joyce Grable was given her ring name by Judy Grable, who trained her, and Moolah was given to her by Grable, who trained her, and Moolah saw... yeah, I get it now. And because Moolah saw a strong physical resemblance to the OG Joyce Grable, so for a time there were actually 2 Joyce Grables. This Joyce Grable debuted in 71 and would wrestle through to 91 and would... not her age, the year, and would tag with Wendy Richter in the 80s, not in their 80s. That would be cool. No. Grable would also become a trainer at the compound. Vicky Williams was a barefoot high flyer from Georgia. With 12 years experience, she trained at the compound, and no shit, looks like the woman in Andre's left hand. I had the picture open this entire time while I was doing this. I mean, trying to put names to the faces. And so we're going to pencil in that Vicky Williams is left-hand lady, right? So unfortunately, that is all I could kind of figure out. The lady with the bangs, can't figure it out. Donna Cristianello and Tony Rose are back, people. We've got Donna on 4. We've got Tony on 5. Are you keeping up? Joyce Grable, Vicky Williams are like, fuck you, bitches. Give us back our titles. And they are back on top again with reign number 2 for them. Leilani Kai and Judy Martin pop in for a cuppa with the titles before Grable and Williams yoink them back again for reign number 3. Kai and Martin regroup and take the title backs for reign 2. Now, these are the ladies that are more known as the Glamour Girls. They were a tag team from 1979 to 92, but debuted as the Glamour Girls after a long tour in Japan at the WWF's 87 Survivor Series as part of Sherry Mattel's team. So they were tagging for ages, but they were the Glamour Girls when they got to the Leilani Kai looks real different before she bleaches her hair, y'all. Randomly useless information, I know, but it is a massive transformation, I will tell you. Any fucking who. She is trained by Moolah, of course. Leilani Kai debuted in 97, and she was given the ring name by Moolah because apparently to Moolah, Patty looked Hawaiian. Fun Polynesian sidebar, people, I'm going to take you on a little trip. You didn't ask for it, but we're going here. Leilani is a Hawaiian name, which you probably all know, meaning royal child or heavenly lei. Kai is sea, okay? Leilani is the real name of Candy Lee, who is a Samoan transgender woman, Fa'afine. Fa'afine have been in the Samoa culture since like forever. In Samoa, there are 4 genders: female, fa'afine, male, and fa'atama. I knew of them from like being little, so this whole bollocks right now, like trying to creep its way into like our society, is just so dehydrated and smooth-brained. Kai means food or to eat in about 80% of the Polynesian country languages. Just in case you didn't know, Polynesia spreads in a triangle from Hawaii down to Aotearoa, New Zealand, out to Rapa Nui. Rapa Nui is the actual name for East Island. It swerves away from Fiji and Vanuatu as they are in Melanesia. First Nations tangent. Dakota is the language spoken in different dialects by the Seven Fires, a large confederation of tribes over in the Americas. Dakota means friend or ally. So Dakota Kai means friend to eat. I brought it back to women's wrestling. I bet you were all wondering where the fuck I was going with this, but hey, we came back. Dakota Kai is a Samoan Kiwi, and she has been had 6 tag teams. Oh, she has been in 6 tag teams. That's what I was writing. Evie and the current IPW NZ Women's Champion Megan Kate were BFF for a while. That was the first tag team. Team Kick was her intergender tag team with 3-time IPW NZ Heavyweight Champion Liam Fury. Liam Fury, did he do something in FIFA? I think so. Team Slap Happy, which is a fucking cool name, is with Heidi Lovelace, aka Ruby Soho. Wouldn't it be cool if that could come back? In WWE, she's was in a tag team with Tegan Knox and then Raquel Gonzalez, but they didn't have a name, which is lame. Maybe not. Speaking of lame, Mula sent Leilani off to tour after only 4 weeks of wrestling training. That is fucking unreal. 4 weeks. I did hear like some ladies, especially the ones who were trained purely like with Wolf, that a few of the ladies didn't quite really know how to wrestle. This explains a lot. In 1979, Leilani Kai would begin working with Judy Martin in North Carolina. Leilani Kai would seek revenge, so to wrestling speak, on Wendy Richter at the WW's the war to settle the score, with Moolah in her corner and Cyndi Lauper was in Richter's. Kai won the title of Richter then, but she would lose it back to her at the first ever WrestleMania. And we all know about that. Judy Martin got into wrestling after approaching some fellas after a wrestling show in South Carolina. She started training at the fucking compound in 78 and started her career in Japan. The Glamour Girls were heels and managed by Jimmy Hart, and they feuded with the Jumping Bomb Angels, Norio Tatento and Izuki Yamazaki for the WWF Tag Team Championships. What our NWA belts turn into by way of moolah. Literally. In 1988. The first ever Royal Rumble, which by the way used to be my favorite pay-per-view ever. Even after I stopped watching the Fed, I still like clung onto like WrestleMania and Royal Rumble. Didn't last long. In 1988, after an epic 2 out of 3 falls match for the titles, the Jumping Bomb Angels would be victorious. Later that year, the Jumping Bomb Angels would lose the titles to the Glamour Girls in Japan. But then the Fed went meh on the titles and they were just abandoned. What the fuck? I mean, talent of the Glamour Girls and the Jumping Bomb Angels, I'm sure those matches would have been fucking brilliant. Now we We'll never know. Martin would wrestle Rockin' Robin for the title at the next year's Royal Rumble. And there would be, and then it would only be like a few months later after that where the Fed went and like killed the women's division. So yeah, all of that prestigious heritage, can't be fucked. The Glamour Girls went on to Ladies Professional Wrestling Association and were managed there by Adnan El-Kassi. Oh no. Adnan El-Kassi. I wrote that out phonetically to try and help me, and then I ended up just fucking it up. So Adnan El-Kassi, who y'all might remember as Sergeant Slaughter's manager, General Adnan. They would eventually win the tag titles after a very long feud with the new Team America. What is that? Well, who of the old Team America? Judy Martin competed in singles matches for WCW at the beginning of October of 91. She wrestled Bambi, but Medusa interfered. Martin and Medusa would then have a match at the end of the same month, which Martin lost. And then adios, WCW's women's division. Thank you. Goodbye. And so I guess, yeah. It's another reason why I want to kind of like go and find Medusa's other matches elsewhere, because I feel like my opinion of her got well and truly like jambled about by that whole fuckery. In 1999, at a PGWA show in Atlanta, Leilani Kai and Judy Martin were the tag champions. They had a match against two men. I made sure I doubled down on this info before I said it because I almost jumped the gun. But no. We can easily jump the gun. Are y'all ready? This is fucking funny. They had a match against two men. Fuck knows who the other one was. But one of them was goddamn Steve-O. Yep. That's Steve-O. I want to see them kick her ass. No, yeah. I want to see them kick his ass. Ha! Moving on. In 1980, Wendy Richter and Joyce Grable won the tag titles, making this Wendy's first reign and Joyce's fourth. If I start going on about Wendy Richter, we will be here for hours. So, once again, she is also on the list of getting into at a later date properly. Princess Victoria and Sabrina held the title for 7 days in 1982. Sabrina debuted in 1980 and wrestled for 34 years. She was a high-flying technical wrestler and trained at the compound. Princess Victoria was trained by Sandy Barr in Portland, Oregon. She would train alongside Velvet McIntyre. She would eventually be under Moolah, as pretty much all women wrestlers had to do to get any bookings. Burp for Moolah. There is an autobiography, Princess Victoria, A Tale of Tears, Triumphs, and Turnbuckles. It's by herself, her sister, and a man by the name of John Cosper from Eat, Sleep, Wrestle, which sounds like it's a really, really good read, and I have put it on my ever-growing list of women's wrestling autobiographies I want to read. Nyla Rose wrote the foreword for this book due to the help that Princess Victoria had given her and lots of other women's wrestlers. So yeah, she sounds like a good one. Princess Victoria broke her neck in the ring in 1984 and she had to stop wrestling. That had to suck. She obviously really loved it, but at least she got to give back, eh? So, Wendy Richter and Joyce Grable came back from the loo and won the titles back, giving Richter her second reign and Grable her fifth. A year later, in 83, Velvet McIntyre and Penny Mitchell won and held them for slightly longer than a piss break. Then Wendy and Joyce came back for them and won them again. Wendy ended up with 3 reigns as NWA Women's Tag Champion, and Joyce Grable was with goddamn 6. That would be the last reign of the NWA tag titles, as they were called, until NWA's first women's pay-per-view in 2021. Little side shade. Isn't Empower like such a dumb name? Empower and fucking WWE's name for, I can't remember, but they were dumb. Why does woman shit have to have such dumb names? Fucking hell. Get your shit together, would you? Velvet McIntyre was another barefooted high-flying Canadian who would have rather have gone to Kuwait with the girls on a trip than to wrestle at WrestleMania 2 against Moolah, but she was given no choice in the matter whatsoever. McIntyre was not a fan of Moolah, but it seems Moolah was a fan of hers. Velvet began training with Sandy Barr in 1980. Sandy Barr also seems like a good trainer from what I found out. With Princess Victoria, and she traveled all over the world. She wrestled barefoot after someone had yoinked one of her boots. And after that, it just stuck. She said it helped her tons, like to do way more in the ring. I get really kind of clinchy when I see wrestlers like barefoot in the ring, purely because I am such a fucking klutz with not knowing what any of my appendages are, that I roll my toes and stub them and smush them fucking all the time. So that's all I can imagine what would be happening with these little tootsies. But everyone seems fine, so what the fuck are you going to do? Velvet McIntyre had to retire in 98 due to being hapu, pregaruni. Penny Mitchell was trained at the compound, and you all know that the compound is Mullah's compound, right? Cool. I'm just really don't want to have to say her name more than what I fucking have to. In 1980, Penny came to the WWF in 82 and would leave to win the NWA tag titles, return back in 84. Penny also worked for All Japan Women's Pro Wrestling during 83 and 84. In 85, Penny Mitchell would have some feuds with Susan Starr and the WWF champion Wendy Richter in a mask under the alias Spider Lady. Okay, so she wrestled in a mask. This is Penny Mitchell. She wrestled in a mask under the alias Spider Lady. Okay, and so she had quite a few feuds with Wendy Richter. In November of that year, Moolah took the Spider Lady mask and wore it herself and defeated Wendy Richter at Madison Square Gardens in what is known as one of the earliest legit screw jobs of wrestling. This looks like, you know how some people are like the Brett, Sean, legit. This is fucking legit people. Wendy thought shit was shady when she saw Moolah backstage, because Moolah's never there unless she's wrestling. Wendy had been rightfully asking Mr. Prickman for royalties. Remember, we're in the FWU Republican Entertainment Society place. And she'd been asking for royalties. Wendy Richter had for her appearance in the Hogan cartoon. They gave her no royalties for that, by the way. And she also asked for a pay rise in general, which was fair. She was getting $5,000, and everyone else was like, we don't even want to know. It's fucking depressing. Mr. Prickman got all flustered, and instead of paying the woman what she deserved, he got all paranoid that she would leave disgruntled with the title. Basically fucking manifesting what Alundra Blaze did, and organized Moolah to take it off her by force in the ring. So Penny was meant to be having this match. Fuck knows what happened to Penny. Penny is she got some hass for this, but in later years, after it was talked, the ladies were like, yeah, no, we're really sorry. We fucking gave you shit for that. We totally thought you were involved as well. But Penny was nowhere involved in this as well. Wendy clicked when they were in the ring pretty fucking quickly. Moolah is very obvious when she's in the ring, and she tries to unmask Moolah but she gets rolled up in a small package, and despite kicking out at 1.5, the ref just keeps counting for the 3 and awarded Moolah, who had now been unmasked by a pissed Richter, the championship. Wendy was even still wrestling after that pin, because she was like, no, I didn't get pinned, we're still wrestling, but nope. Wendy Richter walked the fuck out of there, straight out of there, out of the building, out of the ring, out of the building. And to this day, Prickface doesn't give a flying shit about this decision and the hurt that it caused Wendy, and even the bullshit that got on fucking Penny afterwards. I kind of understand putting her feelings aside for her Hall of Fame induction, but if it was me, I don't think I could. Unless it was to do a screw job of my own and start spilling some shit in my acceptance speech, I'd be like, fucking suck on my clit dick. When the belts came to WWF, Princess Victoria and Velvet McIntyre were made the inaugural WWF Women's Tag Champions to start us off. When Princess Victoria broke her neck, Desiree Peterson took her place. This began a whole new reign for Velvet McIntyre, so she will now be in 2. Desiree Peterson is a Canadian who was trained at Stu Hart's she was trained at the compound at Stu Hart's referral in 82. She wanted to be trained by Hart, but he wouldn't. She went on to have a 29-year career and retired in 2009, having won the NWA in Vancouver's Canadian Women's title, and also the WCW Women's Tag titles in 86 with Princess Jasmine. Not the soaring, tumbling, freewheeling through the endless diamond sky Princess Jasmine, but the 5'9" black American babe who was a wrestling fan from Chicago, and that Dick Bruiser saw potential in. That sentence was a fucking swamp, wasn't it, in my mouth? We are going to talk about Princess Jasmine in a up-and-coming episode, of course, because she's another good one. Then the Glamour Girls win them, and we know what happens next to the WCW tag titles. See you later. Bye-bye. Adios. I mean WWE tag titles. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Adios. They don't come back until 2018. When the Boss and Hug connection... Oh, no. Fucking bad name counter. Jesus Christ. Bailey and Sasha Banks would be the inaugural champs after a tag elimination chamber match, which I know I would have seen but completely fucking forgot about. They competed against Nia Jackson, Tamina, which I remember being like, wow, pumped for that tag team, but then didn't really go anywhere. The Riot Squad of Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan. Is Sarah Logan back in the 4Bs? I think it is. And Sonya Deville with Mandy Rose. Now, Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, now they were a fire fucking tag team. What were they called? Something to do with fire as well. That was dumb. TNA would bring in the TNA Knockouts tag titles in 2009. Sarita, a.k.a. Sarah Stock, who was just released from her coaching and producer role in AEW. That's her. And Taylor Wilde would beat the Beautiful People in the finals of the tournament for these championships. Awesome Kong and Hamada would win them next. Then they'd vacate them a few months later. I think Hamada ran into some visa issues, because this does happen again. Velvet Sky and Madison Rayne would beat Angelina Love, who was with Angelina Love with Tara, and Sarita with Taylor Wilde in a 3-way for the titles. Taylor Wilde and Hamada this time would win them a few months later, and then once again it was vacated. So I really do think it was visa issues, maybe. Angelina Love and Winter would win the title after another tournament near the end of 2010. Mexican America, the team of Rosita, aka Zelina Vega, and Sarita win them in 2011. 4 months later, the team TNT of Tara and Brock Tessmacher would beat them for the titles. That was 4 months later. Gail Kim and Madison Rain would defeat them near the end of 2011, making Rain and Wild the only multi-time champions of this version of the titles. ODB and Eric Young win the titles in 2012, and then the titles were taken out back and shot in 2013. The Impact Knockouts World Tag Team Championship would return in 2021, where the team Fire and Flavor, Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steeles would win the tournament to become the inaugural champions. Kiera Hogan's in AEW, and I think Tasha's with the W's. Impact is now back to being called TNA, by the way. So the titles changed to the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Champions, and Decay, Havoc, and Rosemary won those. Right now, the TNA's tag champions are Ash by Elegance and Heather by Elegance. I really hope they don't get absorbed. NWA's are Tiffany Neves and Valentina. WWE's are Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. NXT's was Alba Fire and Isa Dawn, but they unified them in 2023. What a lame-ass thing to do. That's so dumb. That's so dumb. Anyway, Stardom's Goddess of Stardom champions are Wingori. They are Hanan and Saya Ida. Joshi Pro's Princess Tag Team Championship in Tokyo Joshi. Jesus fucking Christ, people. In Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling are Kyoraku, Kyome, and that's the tag name. Sorry, I thought that was an individual name. So the tag name is Kyoraku Kyome, and it's Hyper Misao and Shoko Nakajima. Shoko Nakajima. We know her from the thingamabob when she was the thingamiflang with the flingity flu. You remember? I remember. You remember. We all remember. AAA have had a mixed tag team championship. They didn't have a women's tag championship. But it is currently held by Mr. Iguana and La Hiedra, who is fucking cool, by the way, but who knows how long that's gonna live before it gets dissolved as well. I hope all these titles don't get absolved. CMLL's tag team, Las Chicas Indomables. Las Chicas Indomables, who are La Yarochita, and Livia. Oh my God. I'm bad today. These titles, I went all Polynesian on you, so that's why I'm all fucking all over the place. The titles were, I'm just going to blame it on that, were vacant, and they won them in 2025 after beating Ty Valkyrie and Lady Frost in that recent Shimmy Sham that they had. I remember seeing that as cool. Now that is a fucking cool tag team. I know Taya is still kind of like in the vendetta with Deonna Purrazzo. I don't know where Donna Purrazzo is at the moment because I don't think she's injured. But if that doesn't end up panning out, put those two together. Fuck yes. I was going to include this in this week's episode, which I kind of touched on at the beginning. But instead, I'll utilize next episode being Legs 11, and we can have some fun catching up with the tag teams. Oh, we can have some fun coming up with tag team names for the AEW and ROH roster and having a little play around with some peeps. I'll be putting this question out on Threads and Blue Sky tomorrow at some point. Y'all won't even, there's no point in you doing it now because by the time you hear this will already be here. So, yay! Thank you for joining in. And I would like to see what y'all come up with, because that'd be fun. And I'm going to ask the sickos, and it's going to be all good. I just want to thank my references for all that jibber jabber. That was slamwrestling.net, smackdownhotel.com, wrestlingdatabase.com, onlineworldofwrestling.com, and cagemat.net. And with that, my dear wrestling fans, we end today's episode of Don't Call Me Diva. Available every fucking where in audio form. Plus we have audio and video versions up on YouTube. Did you like that one? That little memory lane of the tag champions. I really enjoyed doing that because I didn't realize how much kind of fuckery was going on. I also didn't realize how long some of these women's reigns were and how tiny they were. It was insane. Also, just the constant pattern of women training, and then not even a month later, they're out there on the road. And Mae Young's talent for mugging and people and getting away with it. I fucking love that. Don't go out beating up people and mugging them, but just think about in the 1950s. In the 1950s, go woman, do that mugging. I love that. Not to mention all the wonderful representation that was going on. I did hear a lot from the Black American and the Black Canadian women that they usually had to stick with being faces because of you don't want any tensions to be prodded. But hey, you got to be safe. They had fun. Everyone loved wrestling. It was brilliant. So yeah. So I hope you enjoyed that all, everybody. I want to say thank you to Shane, my excellent producer and editor and promoter, who deals with all this jibber jabber and gives it to all you lovely people. Go check out some of his work on Shoot Style Sessions on Ethos Media Network. Oh, Medio Network? Yeah, why not? Medio. Go check out sickosclub.com, people, and Sickos Club on Threads. You've never ever met a more inclusive, smart, stupid, but in a good way, kind and talented bunch of wrestling fans until you hook up with the sickos. They really are a great bunch. Today, I want to shout out Don't Call Me Diva. It's a little fun show about women's wrestling. Since you listen to this, you may enjoy it. I am very sleep deprived. You can find me lurking the dungeons of Threads at Bex_Bastet. And under a tree in blue sky at Bex-Bastet. Women's wrestling fucking rules. Don't be a dick.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase